Welcome. When it comes to your comic book superheroes, we all have our favourites. And mine has always been Batman. That's right, the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight himself, the world's greatest detective. He's a billionaire with lots of toys and a really cool car. Who wouldn't want to be Batman? And when it comes to superhero, comic book hero style games, well, I think we all know by now that the Arkham games really set the bar, and they set it very high. And I'm including Arkham Origins in that one. It needs more love and a remaster. But because they were such brilliant games, you can forget the ones that came before. And there was one just before Arkham Asylum, which is one of my favourite games on the 6th generation. I'm talking about Batman Begins. I've got it on the PlayStation 2. I'm pretty sure it was available on all platforms. Double check and let me know if I'm right in the comments below. Now, if you're going to compare this to Arkham, don't. Because they are open world games. This is definitely a much more linear affair. But that doesn't mean it's not great. As you may guess from the title, this follows the story of the first game in the Christian Bale trilogy. The 3 best Batman films ever made. It does follow the story loosely. There's input, but it's loose. They do take a bit of artistic license to make it playable, but trust me, that is not a bad thing, because what they've done is create something really good. First of all, graphics-wise, okay, it's a 6th generation. As I said, my copy's on the PlayStation 2, but it looks very good for a 6th gen game. You don't sit there playing it thinking, oh, this is rubbish, everything's square. They got the dark, gloomy art style correct, both with the backgrounds and, of course, with Batman himself. And gameplay-wise, you can see the beginnings of what was definitely refined in the Arkham games with the combat. When it comes to your fist fights, it has got a counter and block mechanic very similar to the Arkham games, and Batman's animations when he moves, okay, there's not as many different combinations, older game, but there's still elements there that feel familiar, and I mean that again in a very complimentary, good way. I actually really like the combat in this game, but my favourite part about it, which is something I've not found in any other games, because, well, it is inspired by the movie after all, is it uses the fear mechanic. When I first played this game, I hadn't played anything like it. Basically, you can manipulate the environment, usually by a well-placed batarang, to scare the thugs. You'll get to an area where there might be half a dozen-ish, but they're all armed to the teeth. Now, even Batman, being as great as he is, dropping in the middle of 6 armed men, he's going to get shot to pieces, isn't he? Look like Swiss cheese. So what you want to do is get them to drop their weapons. Now, before you say it, why would scaring somebody make them drop their weapon? I can't answer that one. It seems very counterintuitive to me, but moving on. Once you have instilled enough fear in the environment, they drop their weapons, become unarmed, and then you can give them a good old pasting. You'll even find some don't put up a fight, because they're just so terrified of the big bad bat. It really is interesting, and it really is innovative. And another thing this game has going for it is the Batmobile. I will say, my only real complaint with this game actually is the Batmobile segments are too few and too short. I would actually like a lot more of it. But think about this. Batman Begins was in the mid-2000s. We then didn't get to be in the Batmobile again until Arkham Knight. That's a big difference in time. And for the record, I liked the Batmobile in Arkham Knight, don't care what anybody else says, it was great. This just adds an extra element to the gameplay. Yes, you haven't got a sprawling open world city to explore, but you get a nice little difference of locations, including Wayne Manor, on fire no less. You get to be in the Batmobile, you get some good solid gameplay, some good solid art style graphics, and a fantastic Batman story. There's a reason I replay this game so often, and I always will. And I highly recommend you give it a first, second, or 5th playthrough yourself. Until next time, ta-da for now.